Welcome to the channel. Today I thought we'd have a quick look at my first Shotshell reloader, which is this Loadall 2. There have been several versions of these. They're all roughly the same. They come in several different calibers. This is 12 gauge. I think there's also 20 gauge and 410. Basic operation is pretty simple. We have up here, we have one window for powder, which is empty right now because I'm not going to reload live now. We have over here a bird shot, and then we have a number of different stations, and I have some shot shells here which are used, and let's just have a go at the basic operation. Now the one thing we do have is this ring here, and you can see the bottom of this has a sort of recess that's for the lip there, so you put that on the correct way up with a band at the top. Then that goes into station 1. And station 1 is going to eject the old shotgun primer and size the case. Up it comes. So there we go. So the primer's gone. Station 2, we take a new primer, in it goes, and we put that on station 2 and down it goes. And that ejects the ring. And I've just put an old primer in right now. I'm going to just make some inerts like that. And then we're going to go to stage number 3, which is over here. Now there's a lot going on there. So let's take this nice and slow. So first we go in like this, then down goes the apparatus, and we're going to insert the powder by doing so. That drops the powder straight into the case. And I like to give it a little knock, and then we go up and we pick up our wad. Here it is. In goes the wad, down it goes, in goes the shot, give it a knock again, up it goes, over. Right, at that stage we have our wad, our shot, our powder. We now have two possibilities. We have the first one, I think, does an 8-star crimp, the second one does a 6-star. This was a 6-star, so I'll position this in the 6-star one, and then we'll just go down, and that does the pre-crimp, like so. That gives us our pre-crimp. And then in the last one, which then just does the finishing crimp. Like so. And that's roughly what we get. As far as operation goes, that's it. It's all reasonably simple. The one thing I would say is you have no adjustability. And my adjustability has, I have a number of these things over here, which are the shell holders over here. And by putting them then on top, you can raise and lower the mechanism. So what happens is when we pull this down, it indexes, the whole press indexes of this metal thing here. See, like that. So that's where the press stops. And what you can do, and I had to buy these guys extra from the Lee webpage for a few pennies. You can also use washers and stuff. But let's say I want a lighter crimp. Then I can unscrew all these. See, I can unscrew these two, I don't even know what these are, screws, grub screws, God knows what. And I can put another one of these metal gubbins underneath. So see, I have like a stack of 3 now. And I can screw it back into place. And obviously that means that whatever crimp I'm going to put on this is going to be significantly less than it was before, because we're not crimping down all the way. So this offers at least some level of adjustability. It's not perfect, and I've never had to use 3, but I have in the past used 2. And this way the indexing of the press ends much higher, and so if you have slightly too much crimp, with this you can adjust it that you get less crimp. If you want more crimp, you're screwed, because there's no way adjusting down. The other thing you can do for the pre-crimping process is you can put a penny or a washer or an overshot disc underneath, and that will also increase the crimp slightly. To adjust the amount of powder you drop, you basically undo this screw here, undo this screw there, and the whole bar comes forward, and there are a number of inserts that'll set the amount of powder that you throw. Finally, I have some changes I've made to this thing. The first one is this green thing. This had some sort of alu slide in it, which didn't have a handle for lifting up. And that got lost. I don't even know where that went. So this is a CO Match King box. So this is the cases go up here to eject the primer. And as you can see, now let me put this silly ring on. If we put the ring on, you can see that as they eject, they bobble around somewhere, and there's the drum mechanism over here that has the primer seating, that has a spring in there and all sorts of other stuff, and all the primers can get stuck all over the shop. So at some stage when I had this press off and I replaced the wood underneath it, I actually just glued up all the other locations. And that meant that the primers that fall out then are more or less accessible. Now you can see there are a number of holes in the base plate for this press. Now over here we seat a new primer, but we still have a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, a hole here. This is the pre-crimp, this is the final crimp, and this is where we add the powder, the wad, and the shot. But you can see they just have a hole drilled straight through, and you don't really need those holes. The trouble is if you have a shotgun pellet going, falling in one of those holes, you'll never get it out again, and it'll rattle around terribly in there, which is why I just added some sticky tape just to seal those holes up. So if something falls there, it won't rattle and be a nuisance. My final thoughts on this presser, I don't think it's bad, but you can end up with stuff like this, yeah, because you're forever messing around trying to find a load that keeps this machine happy, because you really haven't got a lot of adjustability. And so the only way you have to adjust is by adjusting your wad, the amount of shot more or less, and the powder. Those are really the only variable you have. Everything else is a workaround. And if I have no powder charge, my cases look like this instead of like this. And so if you want a minimal powder charge, well, then you have to add something on, because otherwise your cases are going to look like this. Do you see what I'm getting at? So you might have to put an overshot disc in, or you might have to figure out a way of adding more lead pellets, but at that stage your load changes again, and it is all that little bit of a struggle. Realistically, for the money, and I think this thing at the time cost about 70-80 quid, I don't know how much they are now, you can roll crimp for less, and that's really the competition here. All in all, I don't think this is a bad press. I think it is basic, and I think as long as you spend your time to set up one recipe perfectly, and you get that one recipe to work, and you never change it and you never touch it, I think it'll serve you well. So that is my review. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.